Hello classmates. Isn't it crazy how we think we know ourselves, but then do these personality tests and can't believe the results? This is how I felt for some of the results I got back from the test that I took. My name is Brad Heidelbaugh, and I will be telling you what I found out about my personalities and how I learned. First off, the Myers-Briggs personality test was made for the understanding of the psychological types described by C.G. Jung and make it useful in people's lives. If people are different in how they reach a conclusion, it must be because of their interests, reactions, values, motivations, and skills, according to Myers-Briggs. For the 16 personalities quiz, I get ISTJA/T. That's what they call a logistician personality. A logistician can be described as a person who analyzes each situation and checks their facts before making decisions. Logisticians have sharp, fact-based minds and have a great sense of personal integrity. Logisticians are extremely dedicated, seek stability, and keep opinions and emotions to themselves, and let the facts do the talking. I found myself to be more introvert, as I expected, more observant than intuitive, thinking more than feeling, way more judging rather than prospecting, and assertive equal to turbulent. I feel like I fit this description that the 16 personality tests gave me. The VART questionnaire asks questions to find out how a person gains and retains information the best. I found results in which I got a 12 in visual, 5 in oral, 9 on reading and writing, and 11 on kinesthetic. This makes sense with my personality, as I am great at watching people doing things and being able to mimic them in return. And also, I'm a very active person, as I compete in many sports and feel I work well in a moving environment. The third quiz I took, the North Carolina State Learning Styles and Strategies quiz, is another learning styles quiz that compares 4 different types a person may learn. In my trial, I learned I was more of a reflective learner than an active learner, more sensing than intuitive, more visual than verbal, and lastly, sequential rather than global. Reflective learners have to observe rather than seek out information to best learn. Reflective learners think things through rather than trying to find solutions right away. Lastly, reflective learners like to work by themselves rather than groups, which is especially true for me. Next, sensing learners learn through facts rather than discoveries and possibilities. Sensors like to problem solve using well-established methods and facts, which is why I think math is my favorite subject. Next, visual learners best remember by what they see in pictures, diagrams, flowcharts, and demonstrations. Lastly, I was best described as a sequential learner, a learner who best gains an understanding in linear steps, with each step following logically from the previous one. In the multiple intelligences self-assessment test, one takes 24 questions to understand what best methods of instruction would work best for one to learn. It resonates well with educators based on the fact that students do have multiple intelligences, and we need to find a way to teach the best intelligences to each student. I found out that my strongest intelligences are in logical, mathematical, bodily kinesthetic, interpersonal, and naturalistic. Logistical mathematical people understand complex problems and relationships between symbols, processes, and actions. Bodily kinesthetic people work best using their body to express themselves and achieve their goals. Lastly, naturalistic learners learn best by using scientific reasoning and patterns of living things to understand concepts. On the contrary, I score lowest on linguistic and musical learning. For the 5th quiz, I took the 4 personalities test. This test is based off of many theorists using a method that asks if a certain word describes to me. It uses theorists like Myers-Briggs and Robert E. Lefton to put a person in one category. I tested for being a driver, an efficient, independent, candid, decisive, and pragmatic person. The driver wants to know what. He wants to save time, values results, and loves being in control, in charge, and doing things his way. This is kind of surprising to me, as it seems the driver is kind of a bossy person, and I feel like I do not completely fill that mold. The last was the 4 temperaments test. This test tries to understand what type of temperament a person has. It has 4 temperaments: sanguine, phlegmatic, choleric, and melancholic. For me, I got a choleric personality. They describe the choleric temperament as usually a goal-oriented person. Choleric people are savvy, analytical, and logistic. They are practical and straightforward and are not particularly social. For my effective studying parabola, I found out that I would really need to be by myself in a quiet room and well organized. I do not work well watching my favorite show, The Office, being in a noisy setting with my friends, and being on my phone on social media. This makes sense, as I have to wholly focus on my work to be able to get it done in a very good fashion.
Created using Powtoon.